Shalom Aleichem, my dear brothers and sisters. We are at that time of the year again when we celebrate the holiday of Sukkot, or what we call in Hebrew Hag HaSukkot. Hag means like a holiday or pilgrimage, and Sukkot means the tents. So the holiday of the tents, where we actually build the tents and we dwell in them for 7 days.
As the verse says, you shall dwell in booths for a 7-day period. Every native in Israel shall dwell in booths, so that your generations will know that I caused the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I took them from the land of Egypt. I am Hashem, your God.
When I say dwell, I mean we eat in there, and if the weather permits, we even sleep in there. And so I've built my sukkah this year, as you can see. This year I've made it out of those plastic shutters. And let me show you around. Let's go inside. Let me show you the sign I put up on here. As you can see, blessed is God who took our ancestors out of Egypt and provided them shelter. So the reason why we're building these huts is because when God took us out of Egypt, He provided us shelter. How? He covered the Jewish people with 4 clouds on each side and then another cloud on the top over them. Oh, you did it yourself? Okay. Okay. Very good. So he was providing shelter to the Jewish people all around. 4 walls made out of clouds and the cloud on top. And these clouds would protect the Jewish people from everything, from the heat. You can imagine, how could Jews survive 40 years in the desert, in the heat of the desert? And this is the answer. God protected us, and these clouds served many purposes. One of the purposes, it would, make the path for them. Nice path, meaning, all the scorpions, snakes, everything the clouds would remove. Another purpose was that these clouds would protect against the enemies from attacking the Jewish people, and protect from the sun. And these were the clouds that we are commemorating, and that's why we built these huts or these tents. And so let's go inside. I'm gonna show you around. Okay, we are going inside the sukkah, and here's what it looks like inside. Here you can see the tables set up. It's been raining, so we gotta clean the tables before the Sabbath. But here you can see that kids made some decorations. Now the important part is the roof. The roof has to be something natural, something that's not permanent. So in this case I used bamboo, and something that you can kind of see the stars through. This is the important part of the roof. Now as far as the walls can be made out of anything. As you can see, I have 4 walls. Here's basically the wall of the house. It acts as a wall, and then I have wall here, and another wall here. Okay, and so it's 4 walls, Now let me kind of show you a little bit of the decorations, what we have here. So let me start with this part. So here's the Hebrew word sukkah. That's how it's spelled. And it's interesting that since Hebrew is a holy language, then everything has a reason and a purpose and a deeper meaning. So if you look at the word, you will see something interesting. That according to the Jewish law, the best type of a sukkah is the one that has 4 walls, meaning it's covered on all 4 sides. So as you can see that this letter has 4 walls, right? It's covered on all 4 sides. The next best, the medium type of a sukkah, which is, still good, is when it has at least 3 walls. So you can see this letter, it has 3 walls, right? 1, 2, 3, right? Now, the minimum required for the person to fulfill the mitzvah, that's like the least possible kosher sukkah, and yet it's still kosher, is when it has 2 full walls and a third non-full wall. And that's, you can see the letter over here, hey. It has 2 full walls and a little wall over here. And that's, just a little hint of halachically what's considered the best sukkah and what's considered the minimum sukkah, and what's considered the medium type of sukkah.
Another commandment we have in the Torah is based on a verse. You shall take for yourselves on the first day the fruit of a citron tree, the branches of date palms, twigs of a planted tree, and brook willows, and you shall rejoice before Hashem your God for a 7-day period. In other words, the Torah commands us to simply take 4 species of plants and take them for ourselves, and this is exactly what we do. There are 4 species that we as Jews pick up with our hands, and we fulfill the commandments of Arba Minim. The 4 species are Etrak, which usually is translated as citron, then Arava, which usually is translated as willow tree, then there's the Hadas, which is the myrtle tree, and the Lulav, which is the palm branch.
Now this picture is also something interesting. This is in archaeology, they have found a letter that's the original letter from Shimon bar Koziva. He was a Jewish leader, a rebel that raised the rebellion against the Romans in ancient times, and the rebellion was successful to a certain degree. You know, they got their autonomy for a short period of time, and I think it was about 2 years, during which they actually minted their own coins, and they actually started building the third temple, and this was so significant that some of the big rabbis at that time even thought that he might be a Messiah, because he started fulfilling certain things. You know, he was successful in waging war against the Romans, against the non-believers, and he was able to, they were starting to build the temple, which is also one of the criteria, and some rabbis thought that he was the Messiah. When eventually, after the rebellion was put down and, you know, the Jews lost, and this was already clear that he was not the Messiah, but of course he did not do the things that the Messiah is supposed to do. So this is the letter that they've discovered, and this is the English translation of the letter. And in the translation, if you read it, it's interesting that Bar Kokhba is asking the Jews to smuggle the 4 species of branches that I was talking about into the city of Beitar, so that they can fulfill a mitzvah on Sukkot of taking these 4 species. Here you can see, this is a coin that was found from the times of Bar Kokhba, of that person that I mentioned, that some Jews thought that he was the Messiah, because they were able to mint the coins. And what's interesting about this coin is that these are 2 sides of the coin, and this side contains the 4 species, the Arba Minim. And as you can see, this is a Lulav in the back, right? And then you can see the 2 Aravot in the back over here, and then a lot of the Hadassim. It's interesting that some traditions, even up to today, have the custom of having a lot of Hadassim, which is, I think, called myrtle in English. And that's interesting, because normally by the law you need only 3 of them, but some Jews have the tradition of putting a lot of them here. And here you can see the etrog right here. This is the etrog, and this is the back side of the coin, which shows the picture of the temple. This is the second temple.
And this is considered to be one of the most joyous holidays in the Jewish calendar. In the ancient times, when Jews had the temple in Jerusalem, they would do pilgrimage on this day, and they would actually encircle the temple 7 times, and there was basically a party going on. You know, the rabbis would be dancing, and people would be all holding their 4 types of plants and fulfilling the mitzvah. And even today in Jerusalem, this is quite a scene when you see all these Jews building all these tents side by side and dwelling in them for the 7-day period. Thank you for watching.